Welcome to this week's episode of Port Charles Chat, where we're talking about the weeks of September 30th through October the 3rd. I am Mom.
And I'm Brandon.
Thank you for joining us again today. And for us, this was a short week because of baseball, so we only have 3 episodes that we'll be talking about. So let's get ready and let's do the instead of top 10, I actually have 12 this time. Top 12 things that happened in this very short week. Alrighty. As when we left off on Friday, the whole crew in Africa, they were headed back to Port Charles. So we begin with Lucky, Lulu, Jason, and Anna arriving safely back to Port Charles. Anna and Felicia, they meet and they talk about Anna's adventures. And then, of course, at the end, they have this long discussion. And then Felicia's asked if that is everything. Dum, dum, dum. And then we have Jason, who Jason tells Carly everything that goes on with the Sidwell adventures while they were in Africa. And then Carly is bright enough to know that Jason's leaving something out. Wonder what that is. And then Lucky actually tells some people initially about what happened. But when Lucky really comes back in town, what he does is he goes straight to the hospital. Jason brings him there. And so that he can begin his initial testing to find out if he could be a donor for his sister. He is also cleared to go visit her while he's there. Let's see. And on the other side of the news, Liz knows that Lucky's back in town. At this point in time, she has not seen him, but she does let Aiden know, and Aiden is their son, that his dad is back in town. And she kind of gives him some words of advice. And then she just let him know she's fine. If he wants to see him, that, Aiden is able to see him. Let's see. And then finally, Lucky and Liz meet together. Liz happens to be at Bobby's, and Lucky sees her in the window, and they go in and they have actually a very nice, pleasant conversation. I will give them that. I thought they did a really nice job with them connecting. Lucky still has a sense of humor, and I thought that kind of came out during that visit that they did have. And then the completely new change of pace came on. We have Marshall back. And where's Marshall been? We don't know. But anyway, Marshall is back again. And Curtis, he meets with Curtis. And Curtis comes to him and says, I hear you have something else going on. And Marshall is kind of like, what? And so anyway, Marshall actually has been invited to go on tour where he plays his clarinet with Wynton Marsalis's group. And Marshall says that he was going to decline the position, but Curtis convinces him that he needs to go. And so Marshall does decide to go. Marshall was initially declining because he wanted to spend some time with his son, and that he also was willing to help with the Savoy, but Curtis does let him know that he will be fine with the Savoy, and they'll take care of it, and Marshall should enjoy, this invitation that he's received. And then we go back to Rick and Heather. Rick believes that Heather's General Hospital tests have been tampered with. He discusses this with Ava. And then Rick is bright enough to know that Ava has some sort of idea, or at least in her mind, she knows who could have tampered with the testing. But Ava is not going to tell Rick this information. And so Ava goes to visit Portia and kind of gives her a warning. Portia denies initially, but then at the end she realizes that Ava kind of has figured it out. And so they kind of agree to help each other, and they kind of leave it at that. On the other home front, Lucas is back in town. He visits Carly, and then he goes to the hospital and he visits Brad and lets Brad know that he doesn't want anything to do with him at this point in time, that they're supposed to be very cordial because they were working at the hospital together. And then we have a scene later with Sonny and Carly, where they both talk about Alexis, and Sonny says very clearly that he does not want Alexis to go to jail. Even though she's in jail, she doesn't want her to remain in jail. And Sonny does says that he will confess if he needs to clear Alexis. Of course, that ends it on that Wednesday, so we'll see what happens with that. Sam apologizes to Jason. And then lastly, Violet pops back up. Apparently, Violet gets in trouble at school. She has hit a child. She's hit a little boy named Garth. And Brooklyn and Chase have to pick her up. And Violet explains why she did what she did. And so that is the week of Port Charles Chat. Brandon, did I leave anything out?
I think that's for the most part it, aside from the conversations with Heather Weber and Portia.
Okay. Yep. That sounds great. All right. Well, I'm glad I didn't leave anything out with these whole 3 days. All right, Brandon, let's get down and let's talk about the storyline of the week. For me, I thought the storyline that stood out among all was really Lucky being back in town and the fact that he was reconnecting with everyone. I thought that was the overarching theme for the 3 days that we did see, and that every other storyline, it's somewhat kind of linked back to that. Did you have a storyline of the week?
Yeah, it was exactly that. And overall, the theme of, yeah, coming back and moving forward. I mean, we saw that with the conversation, like with, uh, yeah, Lucky and Sunny in particular, where they're speaking about, yeah, we can't change the past, we're moving forward. And even for all the other characters, it's just moving forward. With whatever it is, we can't change the past, but we're just going to keep going.
Okay. All right. And then I have my performers of the week. This week, I think, and it changes. This changed dramatically from last week. Last week, I kind of said I was kind of tired of Lucky because I was kind of tired of the whole storyline, and I just need them to move forward. And the essence of what you're saying with moving forward, Brandon. One of my performers of the week was actually Lucky because I did like that he was finally in town. I like that he was able to connect. I like that he was able to speak to people who we've known that he had a connection for years, and how they brought that back because I had to take a deep thought on some of these people and how Lucky actually knew them. And I thought they did a good job of doing that reconnecting. And then for those people who have been on for years, especially like Elizabeth, they were able to show some flashback scenes of of them, you know, working well, speaking together, or being in each other's lives. The other performer of the week for me was Ava. Believe it or not, I like the conversation she had with Trina, and I like the conversation she's had with Rick. I kind of like the comedy in some of the things that she's done. And then I also like the conversation she had with Portia. Right or wrong, I just thought that I like the conversations that she had this week. And so for performer of the week, and I wanted to pick someone who was not in the Lucky storyline. I like that one. Brandon, who were your performers of the week?
Yeah, well, first of all, definitely, yeah, definitely them. I there was someone that I was thinking of just a moment ago that was just like, I really think that they work. I'm struggling a little bit to remember who exactly that was, but to speak on the two that you were speaking about, I like that Lucky sort of just fits back into place. They're trying to figure out, what's new, but that his character still recognizes, certain things like that Elizabeth drew the sign for Bobby's, even though that they haven't even seen each other in years.
Yeah, and he said he recognized her brushstroke and brushstroke. And for those people who watched General Hospital years ago, you know that Elizabeth was an artist, and she still is an artist. And that's when Lucky and Liz first started dating. While she was in high school, that's what she did is she painted. And yep, and so it was nice to see that they kind of played back on that.
Yeah, and I remember who the person was. I'm actually, well, first of all, let me quickly touch on Ava. I really like Ava, like you said, right around the conversation with Portia, and that she's really looking out for Trina. And I like that, despite anything, you know, that she's still looking out for her, which I really like. And even when she asked for Trina to step up at the gallery, that as soon as Trina said that, she wanted to go back to school, she wanted to hear the rationale, to check in with her, and then went straight to saying, don't let me get in the way. But I'm actually going to say Sam. So
Oh,
so for me, I really like the conversations that she had with everyone. I think this week I felt had some of her best storylines in quite a while. And so, yeah, in addition to those, I'm going to give it to Sam.
all right, sounds good, Brandon. All right, and this week was was another week of some just like cozy storylines that kind of occurred. And for me, these are the nice storylines that I just kind of like. They can stand alone if you like, or they kind of fit into the big theme of storylines. Lucas and Carly. I like I like Lucas's the rapport that they had when they came in. It is a new person playing Lucas. I'm sorry, I cannot remember his name, but there's a new person playing Lucas. But I thought he had a really nice rapport with Carly when they kind of met together. And then when Jocelyn was there, I thought they did a really nice job of performing together. And then, as I kind of mentioned before, I like the scene of Ava and Trina, and I like the scene of Ava and Portia also. And, and I even like the scene of Marshall and Curtis. I like them both together, and I like that they kind of let Marshall. I'm going to miss Marshall on the show, but I like that they talked about the fact that he is a musician and that he does get an opportunity to go and to be a musician. All right, Brandon, did you have any nice cozy scenes?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely those, and I'm gonna add to it Alexis and Molly.
Okay, that sounds great. Sounds great. And then for my amusing storyline of the week, this had to be Violet. I mean, just she and Brooklyn and Chase, and just the looks on their faces when they realized that, Violet got in trouble in school. Not that you want her to get in trouble in school, but I just got a kick. They just got a kick out of it. And so that to me was my amusing storyline of the week. Did you have one, Brand?
Yeah, it was definitely that. I love the camaraderie between Chase and Brooklyn, especially in regards to how they want to handle this. Brooklyn's all ready to go. Go find Garth and go, fight him and speak to the parents, and Chase is already thinking like, I could put a boot on their car, potentially tase somebody. Um,
Yeah.
like I like how they stepped into that parental role, and I hope that we get to see more of this because I really like the characters, of course, Brooklyn and Chase, but I really love them together, and especially as like parental characters. I'd love to see more of this in General Hospital.
Yeah, and can you imagine what Tracy would have said? Tracy probably would have just gone over after little Garth. Anyway, so
And I think we saw a preview for her for next week, so hopefully we get to see that.
yeah, and then let's see. As for my welcome back, well, first of all, welcome back, Lucas. Welcome back, Brad. Welcome back, Marshall. I mean, these are people who have kind of been missing, and so it was nice to see them come back. Did you have any welcome back people from your list?
I mean, no, I mean that for the most part hits it. We do see Terry in a more, predominant role now, and not just these random one-off scenes and no interactions with anyone else. Like she's actually up in front and speaking to people, and so it's nice to actually, see her character being used a little bit more. And of course, now Lucky's back in Port Charles. We've been seeing him, but now he's actually back in the same area as everyone else.
I know. And I will say this. I hope that when Lulu comes out of her coma that she gets all these visitors because Lulu has had more visitors than anyone else. And so hopefully when she's out of the coma that she will have these people who are still visit her. And so anyway, my fast forward moment of the week was actually Sunny. He really didn't do much this week. He had that one scene that I recall anyway with Carly, and I did like the scene he had with Lucky. However, for the most part, he didn't do anything significant. So for this week, so Brand, did you have a fast forward moment?
I don't think I really did. I mean, I don't think I did. Although since you mentioned Sunny, I do want to add a scene from the amusing part is when Carly showed up and Sunny was talking about his coffee maker with his new instant coffee, and Carly's like, "Wow, that's impressive." It's like, but I'm gonna pass because I don't want to feel like I'm cheating on your old machine.
I know that coffee. They've had fun with that coffee maker storyline. All right. And then back to my where are they? Once more, Laura, Kevin, I don't understand. The WSB can find people who are in hiding in East Africa or wherever Africa they're in. They're able to find people in hiding in Africa, and they cannot find Laura and Kevin who have to have cell phones that are pinging somewhere. So anyway, so yeah, where are they? They need to come back now. I mean, if Lucky was able to make it home, I'm sure that Laura and Kevin can make it home. Alrighty. Brandon, do you have any, where are they missing people?
Well, obviously, I have to give my yeah, my mention to Scotty and the pharmacist, wherever it is that they may be, whether they're together, separate, um, whoever, just because one, Scotty's been missing for a while. We're not really mentioning him as much anymore, other when Rick is trying to slight somebody. Um, and in terms of the pharmacist, I mean, I'm wondering if we're even going to get closure to that. I mean, he's just out and hiding somewhere. Like, I mean, I would love for them to bring that back. And in terms of Kevin and Laura, I mean, I would have at least liked to see at least somewhat of their adventure. Like even just them stranded there, waiting there, doing something. I mean, we made a whole point of them doing the heroic act of leaving. I mean, Port Charles has been without a mayor and a psychiatrist for a while now.
I know, and apparently they didn't need their police commissioner either, since she was missing for a few days. But anyway, so that's that for this week. And then as for questions, besides the missing people, um, let's see, the Sam storyline. That's kind of what I'm interested in seeing. We've had some perspective that we've talked about, of course, off camera with Sam. I've noticed that they wrapped. I won't say wrapped up, but they have let this week. They let Sam apologize to Jason. So I guess they're beginning to do some of the ending things with Sam, per se. I did read online through one of those soap opera digest thingies that Sam has actually taped her last days, and so it would be interesting to see what they do with her. But I guess they're letting her wrap up her storyline in whatever way that they're doing it. Brand, did you have any questions?
Yeah, I definitely do have some questions, but first to address Sam, I would personally, I mean, in my personal thought, I'd really want her to have a peaceful ending to her storyline and not a dramatic, end of a Friday, showdown. That's probably where they're going to end up going. But I would like to think that and hope that they give her character peace enough where if she's able to come back in the future, that she's able to, but we'll see.
Yeah, I actually would have been okay if she and her daughter and just had gone to live someplace else. Um, and that would give her, like you said, an opportunity to come back, to return to the show, or at least the character to return to the show if they need to.
Yeah, but in the same regard, this is also a soap opera, and like, didn't Jason just come back from the dead like a few months ago? I mean,
Yes, that's true too. So we'll have to see what happens. But I think my thought, we still have some time since you just taped their last scene. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know. But anyway, so Brand, did I leave anything out?
let's see. Well, I did want to speak a little bit as to the Alexis Heather Weber sort of situation here, um, because we intriguingly um, have them not really becoming friends, but more not enemies towards each other. I guess neutral. So
Mhm.
Heather just wants somebody that will believe in her, and so the question is, if and when Alexis will get out, do you think that she will help Heather, and then in which manner? Because obviously her ex husband Rick is already on the case, but it seems as if Heather, well, one, obviously she just wants whatever will get her out, but I could be very wrong, but I'm kind of actually sensing her a little feel more warmed up to Alexis as opposed to Rick.
Yeah, I think she would be more warmed up to Alexis than Rick also. I mean, if Alexis is acquitted, then of course she'll be able to come back and to practice her law again. Um, Rick is, of course, after money, and he knows that he can win. And he is already there. He made the comment that he's going to start the process with her, whatever that process is. Um, so it will be interesting to see. And then if Heather does get out, what will they do with her? Will they let her raise Ace? Is that how they get Ace off the show? I don't know. Or will they just kind of, I don't know. I mean, Ace, and well, and then for long-standing people who watched General Hospital, we know that Heather was bad long before her hip replacement surgery. So it'll be interesting to see how they can try to redeem her from not just the recent past, but the past. Um, so that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it will be. And as the last two-parter, thing I did want to ask. So first of all, what were your thoughts about Ava and Rick together because they've had an interesting camaraderie as to them playing Columbo and police detective apparently. But uh, so we had that, and I know even though we said it as a joke, but I'd now love to see it. Is you mentioned that maybe if Lucky doesn't end up being the donor, it's like maybe like some oddball out there, like maybe even Sidwell can become this donor.
Yeah, I know, I know. The way they're leading it with Lucky is I really don't think Lucky will end up being the donor. But I made the joke. I said, "Well, can't Sidwell be the donor?" I don't know. Anyway, that's just me talking. So, and then you asked about what was the other about? Oh, Heather, not Heather. With Ava and Rick, I'm
Yeah,
amused by them. I will say I'm amused by them right now. I kind of like them being friendly. So I'll let them be friendly a little while longer, and let's see. I wonder. I don't know how long Rick is going to last on the show, even though I actually because I remember him being on previously, and I didn't care for Rick that much when he was on the first time, um, but I like him now. So it'll be interesting to see what Rick does or what they'll do with his character to see if I continue to like him.
yeah. Doesn't he have some home that he left?
Yeah, I know. Where is he staying? I don't know. He had a home that he left, but he was able to come back to Port Charles. He's barely seen his brother at all, and just kind of make himself back at home. But he does have all those ex-wives out there. I don't know. So, so we thank you for joining us at Port Charles Chat for this week,
Yeah, number 14.
number 14. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we will see you next week.